How's everybody doing tonight? We will be starting soon. I have to figure out how to multi-stream to Twitter and to Twitch. Not Twitch. Twitch is easy. To Twitter and to X and to TikTok. I want to start doing the open rooms that air on both TikTok and here, like Danny does, because I think that'd be fun to do some open debates with atheists. But I haven't figured out how to do that yet. Okay, so we are going to be going live, and here we go. All right, so we are in Tertullian. This is day 4. Sorry I'm a little late today. I was doing something else. Let's see if we can at least get to page 40. Right now we're in page 33. Yet I should think the worst of men might more easily be judged worthy of extermination by the best of men, their enemies, you might say, rather than their followers, rather than their fellows. But now I will ask those most religious protectors and maintainers of law and ancestral usages to answer as their loyalty, as their honor and obedience they render to the decree of their ancestors, if they have abandoned none of them, if in nothing they have deviated from them, if they have not obliterated matters necessary to discipline and most proper to it. Where have those laws gone that limit luxury and ostentation? Make sure we got sound. Okay. Ostentation. The laws that forbade more than 100 asses to be allowed for a banquet, or more than one fowl to be set on the table, or that fowl not fatten either. The laws that dealt with a patrician because he had 10 pounds weight of silver plate, and on the grave indictment of aspiring too high, removed those from the Senate. The laws which when theaters first rose for the deprivation of morals, at once destroyed them. The laws which they did not allow the insignia of rank and honorable birth to be lightly used with impunity. For I see cemetery banquets, so-called from the 100,000 sestertii they cost. I see it would be little if it were to work for senators, or not of freedmen, nor of whip spoilers. I see whole silver mines turned into dishes. I see theaters, and a single theater here or there will not suffice. Uncovered either. Not uncovered. It was for the games that the Spartans first invented their cloak, in case unclean pleasure should be cold in the winter. I see between matrons and harlots not a vestige of distinction in dress left. Really, as regards women, the usages of our ancestors have lapsed that protected modesty or sobriety when no woman knew gold save on one finger, which her betrothed pledged to himself with the engagement ring. When women abstain so entirely from wine, and when a matron once uncloaked with the wine cellar. Her family made her starve to death. Why, under Romulus, a woman who had touched wine was killed with impunity by Metinus, her husband. That is why they were compelled to offer to kiss their relatives, that they might be judged by their breath. Where is that happiness of marriage? So prospered, I think, by morals, that in the 6,000 years following the foundation of, that in the 600 years following the foundation of Rome, no house registered a divorce. But nowadays, among women, no limb of the body but is heavy with gold. Wine forbids a free kiss. Divorce by now is prayed for, as if it were the proper sequel of a marriage. To come next to your gods themselves, the decrees which your fathers prudently enacted you. The most law-abiding of men I have repealed. Father Bacchus and his mysteries, the consuls, with their approval of the Senate, turned him not only out of the city, but out of the whole of Italy. Serapis and Isis and Harpo and Hippocrates, with his dog head, were forbidden the capital. In other words, expelled from the assembly of the gods. And Piso and Garnibus, consuls not Christians, I think, actually overturned their altars and banished them, in the endeavor to restrain their vices that go with foul and idle superstitions. You have restored them and bestowed on them supreme majesty. Where is the religious awe? Where is the veneration owed to your ancestors? In dress, habit of life, furniture, feeling? Yes. In speech, you have renounced your great-grandfathers. You are forever praising antiquity, and every day you improvise some new way of life. All of which goes to prove that while you abandon the good usages of your ancestors, you keep and maintain the practices you should have not. And what you should have kept, you have not maintained. In fact, as to that very point of ancestral tradition, which you think of most faithful, which you think you most faithfully guard, which above all else you have used to mark down the Christians as lawbreakers. I mean, the passion for worshiping the gods. And that is where antiquity made its worst mistake. Though you may have rebuilt his altars for Sepius, romanicized, though you may make an offering of your frenzy to Bacchus Italiente, I will show in its proper place that you despise, neglect, and destroy that tradition, clean against the authority of your ancestors. For the moment I will make my reply to the infamy of our secret crimes, to clear my way to deal with those which are more conspicuous. We are said to be the most criminal of men, on the score that our sacramental baby killing and the baby eating that goes with it, and the incest that follows the banquet, where the dogs are pimps, in the dark, of course, forsooth, and make a sort of decency for guilty lust by overturning the lamps. That, at all events, is what you always say about us. And yet you take no pains to bring into the daylight what you have been saying about us all this long time. Basically, the Romans have been talking trash about the Christians. And He's saying, okay, so let's say all of that is true. What about you? What about the way that you behave? And so it's a really cool thing. I don't know who Blessed Be He is, but okay. Generally, I'm just going to be cool about most things. Then I say, either bring it out if you believe all this, or refuse to believe it after leaving it uninvestigated, your habit of looking the other way. Hi, Twistinity. It's 3 a.m. here. All Christians. Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am. Once always bid the profane avant and guard against observers. Or do you suggest that the impious are less afraid? Everybody knows the nature of rumor. It is in your literature. Rumor, a curse, and swiftest of all curses. It's already 3. I think we should go a little bit longer. I'm in South Texas. I'm a Texan. I just got done with a workout, and I have a job-related thing like around 10:30 tomorrow. So I have plenty of time to read before I go to bed. Just like I should have done this maybe an hour ago, but it's okay. Why is rumor a curse? Because she is swift, because she is an informer, or because she is generally a liar. Why rumor, even when she does bring a bit of truth, does not quite escape from her vice of lying? She subtracts from the truth, adds to it, alters it. What? Surely the terms of her existence are that she only survives while she lies, and only lives so long as she fails to prove her tale. When she has proved it, she ceases to be rumor. And if she had completed her task of telling, she gives us fact. And after that, it is fact that is held and fact that is called. Nor does anybody say, for example, they say this occurred at Rome, or rumor is that so-and-so is assigned the province, but he has been assigned the province and did occur in Rome. Rumor, a synonym for the uncertain, has no place where there is certainty. Would anybody believe rumor except the unthinking? This is great. I love this. This is good stuff. The wise man does not believe uncertainty. It lies with everybody to reflect that. However widely rumor has been put about, with whatever assurance it has been contrived, it must necessarily have originated at some moment with some single person who started it. After that, it creeps through ramifications of tongues and ears, and something wrong in the little seed whence it sprang so obscures all else in the rumor that no one reacts whether that first mouth sowed the lie. Thank you. I appreciate the like of the Optimus Prime. I lost my figurines, as you may have seen. So what I ended up, I just bought a brand new Ratchet, and then I bought two figures. I'm not even missing any of the Transformer stuff, but it's the Transformer stuff that the first thing that I'm replacing. I got 2 figures that were on sale on Amazon, and then they ended up being little tiny ones, and it really pissed me off. Here, let me show you. So I bought these because they dropped from $30 to $12, but they're the minifigures. I don't want a minifigure. So anyway, it's going to be a long time till I have the money again to replace all this stuff, but it's just stuff. So more important is our souls and our intellect. So let's feed that, right? Where was I? After that, it creeps through ramifications of tongues and ears, and something wrong in the little seed whence it sprang, so obscure all else in the rumor, that no one reflects whether that first mouth sowed the lie, as often happens from an envious nature, from wanton suspicion, and from that mere pleasure in lying which with some people is no new thing but inborn in them. It is well that time reveals all, as your own proverbs and wise saws witness, and it does it by the law of nature, which has ordained that nothing long lies hid, even when rumor has not flung it abroad. Very properly, then, rumor alone, all this long time, is the authority for the crimes of the Christians. Rumor is that informer that brings forward against us. Sorry, let me say that again. Rumor is that informer you bring forward against us. Yet what she once launched, and in all this interval has hardened into general belief, to this hour she has not been able to prove. So I would appeal to the authority of nature herself to give evidence against those who assume such charges to be credible. Look, then, we offer a reward for these crimes. They promise eternal life. For the moment, believe it. Then I ask a question on this point, whether even you, sir, who have believed it, count eternal life worth winning at such a price. With all this on your conscience, come, plunge the knife into the baby's body. What the heck? Plunge the knife into the baby. Nobody's enemy. Guilty of nothing. Everybody's child. Or, if that is not another man's job, do you just stand by it? That is all. By his human creature dying before it, has lived. Watch for the young soul as it escapes. Catch the infant. Drink the blood. Eat the bread, which is the body. Meanwhile, as you recline on your couch, reckon the places where your mother, your sister may be. Make a careful note of it. When the darkness of the dogs contriving shall fall, you can make no mistake. You will be guilty of sin unless you have committed incest. So initiated, so sealed, with life forever. I wish you to answer, is eternity worth it? Or if it is not, then you must not believe these false tales. Even if you have believed it, I deny that you wish it at the price. Even if you should wish it, I deny that you could do anything about it. Then how can others do it if you cannot? Why cannot you if others can? Oh, we have another nature, I suppose. Dog-headed men, perhaps, are sycopods. A different arrangement of teeth, other muscles for incestuous lust. You, sir, who believe this of any man, you can do it just as easily as believe it. You are a man yourself. And that is just what a Christian is. You, sir, who cannot do a thing, ought not to believe it of another. For a Christian too is a man, and exactly what you are. But of course, the ignorant are trapped into it, and tricked is played on them. For they never knew that such a thing is asserted to Christians, nothing that they should look into, nothing to investigate, all with watchfulness. Yet when men seek initiation, the usual thing, I suppose, is first to approach the father of the ritual and to map out what it is that he has prepared. Then, quote he, you must have a body still tender, that you know nothing of death, that you can smile under the knife. The item, a loaf. It is bread, not a body, you fools. To catch its juicy blood, this is wine. The lampsteads, the lamps, the dogs, these are for protection. And some sops said of trembling over the lamps, this is light. Above all, you must come with your mother and sister. But if they won't come, or if you have none, what Christian with no relatives? I suppose a man is not a regular Christian unless he has a brother or a son. But look, what if all this is made ready for people who know nothing about it? At all events, they know afterwards, and bear up under it, and forgive it. They are afraid of punishment, if they were to tell the story. I think I'm going to go 2 more pages. They will deserve to be protected. They would prefer to die right out than to live in such deeds on their conscience. Put it that they were afraid. Why do they go on with it? For it follows that you would not wish to be any longer what, if only you had known before, you never would have been. To refute these charges still further, I will show that these very things are done by you, sometimes openly, sometimes in secret, and that perhaps the reason for your having believed these lies lies in the fact that you do them. In Africa, infants used to be sacrificed to Saturn, and quite openly, down to the proconsulate of Tiberius, who took the priests themselves, and on the very trees of their temple, under whose shadow their crimes had been committed, hung them alive like votive offerings on crosses. This actually makes me think of the modern rituals that some Satanists are doing. Satanism here not meaning actual people believe in Satanists, but like the atheists who are LARPing as Satanists are doing to mock Christians who are against Satanism. You're doing the thing that you're saying you're not doing and making yourself guilty of it, even though you think it's a mocking act. So I think the sarcasm here and the irony that Tertullian is using here is amazing. Although the language is very charged. So I was not prepared for that. I was not prepared for that from this reading or in this stream, but that's okay. And the soldiers of my own country are witness to it, who served that proconsul at that very task. Yes, and to this day, that holy crime persists in secret. Christians are not the only people who defy you. Crime is ever wholly rooted out. Nor does any of your gods change his ways. Saturn did not spare his own children, so where other people were concerned, he naturally persisted in not sparing them. And their own parents offered them to him, were glad to respond, and I can't say that on here. And sacrificed their own children in like. And between murder and sacrifices of the parents, the difference is great. Persons of older years used to be sacrificed to Mercury among the Gauls. The plays about the tunic Cherosini belong to the theaters, and there I leave them. So there's a few things in here I'm not actually able to read because of where I'm streaming to, but and I had to change a few of the lines because of that. But if you get a chance to read this, this is good stuff. This is good satire. This is good stuff. Let me go 1 more page, and then we're done. Look you in the most religious of all cities, the city of the pious race of Aeneas. Jordan, I do have a gaming channel. It's a completely different channel unrelated to this, and It's not connected to any of my socials that I normally use. I do have some connection or some labeling on this thing. I'll set that out at the end. But I have so this channel used to actually be, a very long time ago, used to be a martial arts channel back when I was in much better shape, over 7 years ago. So I have a second channel that's part of my official channels that has weightlifting and martial arts and me trying to get back in shape. That's actually what I was doing before I recorded, and before I started the stream. And then I have an alt channel that's not connected to these social medias, where I'm doing gaming, and I'm doing that through, I don't know if I can say Twitch, but yeah, I'm doing it through Twitch. So, yeah. But that one, my archive is on YouTube. The channel is Thoughtful, by the way. Thought and then the number 4. Let me finish this. In that most religious of all cities, the city of the pious race of Aeneas, in a certain Jupiter, whom they drenched with human blood at his own games. Yes, but only the blood of a man condemned already to the beastie, you say. That, I take it, makes it something less than a man's blood, or may it not be so much worse because the blood of a bad man? At all events. And this kind of reminds me of the argument that the current Pope and the previous Pope before him, and I think Pope John Paul II also used this one, against the death penalty, where it's just because it's a bad man that's suffering the consequence of his actions doesn't make the action that you are doing to him correct. Oh, yes, Jordan. I did do some gaming on here. That's just because I was trying out Streamlabs. I had been using OBS and I'd been using StreamYard. But StreamYard's audio quality started getting really janky the last few times I tried to stream. And then I had a real embarrassing stream where I actually had to private it because I couldn't get the audio to play for a watch along. And it took the whole stream down. I think I got like a pretty good number of viewers, and then that was it. Like the viewers left the moment that the audio started messing up. So I'm doing StreamYard now. Anyway, back to our YouTube stream. At all events, it is at least the blood of a murderer. What a Christian Jove! To be sure, his father's only son, so far as cruelty goes. But since there is no difference as to baby killing, whether you do it as a sacred rite or just because you choose to do it, though we must grant a difference between murdering and killing of your own child. This is so abortion nowadays, man. This is just a good hitter. I will turn to the people. How many, think you, of these persons standing round and panting for Christian blood, and panting for Christian blood, how many of you, most just magistrates, and most severe upon us, how many of you should their consciences be touched by what I am saying, for the killing of their own children, for their own unborn and born? Since there is a difference between one kind of death and another, surely your way is more cruel, to choke out the breath in water, or to expose to cold or starvation or to dogs. Grown-up people would sooner die of iron. For us murderers is once and all forbidden. So even the child in the womb, while yet in the mother's blood, is still being drawn on to form the human being. It is not lawful for us to destroy, not by our law. To forbid birth only quicker the murderer. It makes no difference whether one take away the life once born or destroy it once it is birthed. He is a man who is to be a man. The fruit is always present in the seed. And this is actually, I think, a good place to end and a good talking point for those who are watching this later. A lot of people will say, well, where is that in the Bible? Where is that in the Bible? the earliest church father writings, whether the Didache, whether the Tertullian, this is an anti-Nicene. This is before all the doctrine and dogma. Christians were against abortion. And so the accusation is the same accusation you always hear. So when, after 9/11, you'd hear a lot of accusations of what the Muslims were doing, and they'd find the worst examples you could find, and they'd highlight that and try to say, oh, that was all Muslims. Well, it was the same thing with Christians. When Christians first started, they would misinterpret the ceremonies and the rites and the rituals, and they'd be like, okay, well, here he is, here they are sacrificing their God, they're kissing each other. Why would they kiss each other? They have men and women next to each other. That's not allowed, and they're doing it. And they are eating the flesh of their God, and their God is a baby. So therefore, they're sacrificing a God who is in baby form. And they're misinterpreting the bread to be actual flesh, and they're misinterpreting the blood to be actual blood. And by actual, I don't mean transubstantiationally actual. They're thinking it's actual living human mortal flesh, and it's not. And the Christians would use guard dogs to protect themselves. So they think, the Romans think that their worship, or that the dogs are representing Bacchus, because it looks like a Bacchial ceremony or a Bacchial orgy. And so they're just misinterpreting all of this. And what Tertullian is doing, at least from the first, what is this? How many pages have we read now? From the first 50 pages, is that he's saying, okay, well, let's assume all of that is true. You're guilty of all the same things. You do abortions. So what does it matter? Oh, we drink blood? You use blood in your cooking. So what does it matter? And he's just using this kind of rhetorical stance, and he's going all the way to show how they're gods, how Jupiter himself is corrupted. So I think that's really interesting. I think that's a really cool take on all of this. And I really like Tertullian so far. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this. I will read again hopefully tomorrow. I'm going to try to do my, as long as my readings are in the public domain, I'll try to do my readings on air. I know a few of my friends are doing the same thing with some of their public domain reads. Obviously, I can't do this with something that's copyrighted. But anything that's in the public domain that I'm reading, that's ancient text, I'll gladly do these little live streams, because I really enjoy doing this. And it's a way for us to communicate and talk to each other about the church fathers.